Audi's legendary four-wheel drive quattro system is now over 40 years old. While it now seems pretty standard to think of an Audi as having all four wheels powered, back in 1980 this was a revolutionary concept. Since then, there have been some true greats and the odd stinker with a quattro badge. Here are our favourites. And if you do enjoy this video, please do give it a like, and if you want more from Goodwood Road and Racing, subscribe to the channel. Where else can we start but with the original, the car that started it all, the OG Quattro. The Quattro arrived in 1980 at the Geneva Motor Show, ostensibly just an Audi coupe with a four-wheel drive system. But there was much more to it than that. The World Rally Championship, still in its infancy, had legalised four-wheel drive transmissions, and Audi saw its chance for motorsport glory. The rally car soon followed that concept, in prototype-only form for 1980, but in full-blown competition for 1981. Audi won 7 of the 12 rounds in 1982, winning the manufacturer's title without even entering 2 rallies. On the road, the Quattro was a bit of a revelation. Audi had no real reputation for such excitement, but the Quattro's road holding was absolutely legendary. The four-wheel drive system, while adding weight, also added a new dimension of mid-corner grip. In a straight line, the Quattro's around 200 horsepower wasn't massive, but show it some corners and nothing could match it. The first Quattro sold until 1991 in various guises, but such was its legend that the name stuck even after the car's life finished, to festoon every following four-wheel drive Audi. The RS2 may not have entirely invented the fast estate, but it certainly helped popularise the genre. The RS2 was a joint venture between Audi and future VAG bedfellows Porsche. Based on the rather studious Audi 80, it was given a 2.2-litre turbocharged inline 5-cylinder engine, producing a, for the time, mind-blowing 315 horsepower. In 1994, no one had really seen a stock estate with that amount of power. Surely such a thing was not needed. Indeed, there had been outcry in Britain when Lotus got hold of the Vauxhall Carlton and made it do 177 miles an hour in 1990. So surely this was unnecessary. But then people saw the RS2, and more importantly, drove it. Fitted with the latest Quattro system that had shocked the WRC the previous decade, Autocar tested exactly what this estate could do in 1995. It found that, up to 30 miles an hour, the RS2 was faster than both the McLaren F1, the fastest road car ever at the time, and even a Formula 1 car. To 60 miles an hour, the RS2's acceleration stats were on a par with the contemporary Corvette and the 996 911, and yet it could carry 4 people in comfort and stick a bunch of IKEA flat packs in the back. Has there been a cooler looking 4-ringed car than the 90 with which Audi competed in the IMSA Sportscar Championship in 1989? If the Quattro was radically different to the coupe it was based on, the RS2 a radical departure from the Audi 80 Avant, the 90 Quattro GTO was on a different planet. Even to those of us with a love for all things Ingolstadt, the 90 is a particularly boring executive saloon. There's nothing wrong with it per se, but it's not exactly exciting. The GTO is. To become a GTO spec racer, basically everything that held the road car together was thrown away. The GTO had a tube frame chassis with a lightweight plastic skin hung from it. The only thing that made it from road car to racer was the roof, and that's just because the regulations demanded it. The most powerful 90 had a 2.3-litre 5-cylinder engine producing around 170 horsepower. The racing car had a smaller 2.2-litre engine, but turbocharged to a bonkers 720 horsepower and weighed just 1,200 kilograms. The 90 GTO meant business. Of 15 races in the 1989 IMSA GT Championship, the 90 GTO won 7, and it didn't even enter the two big endurance races at Daytona and Sebring. The 1995 BTCC season was won by 43 points, the 93 season by 13, 92 by 17. In 1996, Audi won the championship by nearly 100. That is just how dominant the pairing of Frank Biela and the Audi A4 was. To say that the Quattro-equipped A4 was a dominant force when it arrived in the BTCC would probably be an understatement. The A4 was powered by a state-of-the-art 2-litre engine which produced around 305 horsepower, an amazing number for 1996, and routed power through the Quattro system it existed to showcase. After Biela won 4 of the first 5 races at a relative canter, the organisers were so worried they imposed some punitive weight penalties on all four-wheel drive cars in the championship. In other words, just the A4. After Biela's 5th win of the season at Silverstone, he would only take 3 more victories of the 18 on offer. But he still secured the title with 4 races to go, and finished on the podium in 12 of those races. It was an incredible show of dominance to a series that had normally become quite close. But that was not all the A4 did in 1996. It was also entered in the Belgian, Spanish, Australian and South African championships, and it won them all. After the BTCC adventures, Audi decided it was time for another challenge, this time a little bit more glamorous than the world of national saloon racing. Audi wanted the Le Mans crown. In 1999, it entered a pair of cars, one coupe and one roadster, to analyse which way its development should go. If no one really paid attention to Audi's third-place finish, with Biela again at the wheel, 5 laps down on the leader and with no signs of challenging for honours, they really should have. The following year, the R8C and R8R were replaced with the R8, and Audi was away. It won 8 of the following 9 races, including 2 seasons in privateer hands, while Audi concentrated on the R8's replacement. But the R8 was rear-wheel drive only. In 2012, the rules changed, bringing hybrid tech in for the first time. Rather than adding batteries and more power to the rear wheels, Audi chose an innovative flywheel-based system and strapped it to the front axle. Thus, the R18 e-tron Quattro was born. And what did the R18 e-tron Quattro do straight away? Well, it won Le Mans and the New World Endurance Championship. And then it won it again, and then it was refettled for another new set of rules and won it again. The later car shouldn't really have been called an R18, but Audi decided to keep the name for all future LMP1 cars, so it stuck. But it is the original car that should hold the legend. Audi actually raced a non-hybrid, rear-driven car against the e-tron Quattro in 2012, and it was trounced. The big Audi 100 was first fitted with a four-wheel drive system as a prototype in 1976, 4 years before the Quattro would make its debut. The sister 200 would get all its wheels driven in 1989 and would be quite a revelation. Executive saloons were starting to be given big engines by this point, and BMW was really ramping up its M division. The M535i had set the scene for future executive expresses, and Audi wanted in. So, they stuck not just the Quattro system under the floor, but also a 2.2-litre inline 5-cylinder engine under the bonnet. This might not have been an RS, but the 200 Quattro could hit 60 miles an hour in around 7 seconds. This was the genesis of every fast Audi to follow, and, like the M535 had led to the M5, the 200 Quattro would lead to the RS2. Audi didn't make road-going sports cars. Sure, they turned some saloons into racing cars over the years, but on the road they stuck to much more sedate fare. And then, It was 1995 and the Frankfurt Motor Show, and there was this curved concept car on Audi's stand. But there's no way it would be built. And then it was 1998 and it was being sold. The TT helped change Audi's image around the world forever. The original is now an absolute icon of automotive design. A relatively simple layout, it looked pretty much nothing like what was on sale from its competitors. It was front-engined. It produced a relatively modest maximum output at first of 225 horsepower. But it was fitted with the Quattro system that had now become Audi's showpiece. And it was able to stand out from the crowd in not just looks, but also ability. A few well-publicised teething issues saw a recall and an overhaul to aerodynamics and suspension. But the TT would be a massive success for Audi, not just in terms of sales, but in image. The history of Quattro is full of cars that changed the way people looked at Audi, and the TT was just the latest in that line. Now, everyday people wanted this cool-looking sports car and wanted to be seen in an Audi, rather than just executives wanting to waft to their next meeting. The TT made Audi cool. The RS2 set the stage. The first RS4 picked up where it left off, and the first RS6 really set a high bar for what a fast executive car should be. But it was the B7 RS4, on sale after a mammoth 5-year wait in 2006, that really saw the RS badge come of age. The B7 RS4 had a 420 horsepower, 4.2 litre V8 under the bonnet, with 430 Nm of torque being reined in by the latest Quattro system. The exterior styling was aggressive. Audi's now standard goatee-style grid was a new addition, which made Audi stand out where they'd traditionally been conservative. Inside, it had a flat-bottomed wheel, figure-hugging seats and a big V8 burble from the motor. This was the Audi that would take the fight, at least, to the M3. And take the fight it did, and for many, it would win. Not only was the B7 RS4 powerful, the new version of the Quattro system was ultra advanced, able to route torque to the wheels which really needed it, and with up to 80% of load being able to go to one side of the diff. This finally meant that four-wheel drive Audis could finally feel as sturdy and engaging as its rear-driven rivals. And from then on, it was the only real long-term development course a fast saloon or estate could follow. Those are our favourite Quattro Audis of all time. But don't take our word for it. Let us know in the comments below what your favourite Audi has been.